Welcome to another session with Financials with Ahau. I'm Ahau, and it's great to walk this journey with you. Today, we are building up from what we spoke about in the last week. I remember challenging us to get an action book, so I hope we've started working. And the task was just asking ourselves, why are we saving? And asking ourselves anything and everything we could save for. So just building up to have our own personal why for saving. For me, one of the reasons I know that always stands out for me to save is a place of personal responsibility. Just realizing that I'm a steward of what I have and I need to put it to the most excellent use possible. And part of that is preparing for what would come in the future. So I'm really hoping that we're taking this journey. I'm really hoping that we're growing. And there are many things that we're challenging ourselves to do. So today I'm going to mention on an emergency fund. And to build up on this is to say that emergency is something that happens unexpected. And emergency typically is something that needs cash. So the purpose of an emergency fund is to have cash that can be available and be liquidated as quickly as possible, literally even within an hour, within 6 hours, so that it can facilitate something that needs to happen. And then if whatever needs to be addressed is more long-term, then the cash is able to run through for a bit, even as other avenues of finance or other new ways of making finance are availed. So what would place us in an emergency? Let's say an accident, let's say a loss of income, let's say a family requirement that everybody needs to chip into. Let's say even an opportunity that avails itself, could be eyeing a certain investment and at an opportune moment, it's available at a bargain price. This can also can come from the emergency fund. If I say if, because we also talk about investing or saving and investing intentionally for the things we want to do. So if we look at the emergency fund, one thing that's important to reflect around that, let's say in the instance of how much can I put away? The first core directive that I would give, and based on what I've had go around, is at least 6 months worth of living expense. And that is rent paid, bills paid. If there are any big things that need to be paid for, children's fees, contributions, catered for within the monthly living expenses for at least 6 months. What does this look like for each of us? It will be different. That's why it becomes important to determine what are your monthly expenses, what are your quarterly expenses, what are your annual expenses, what are your half-yearly expenses, so that you can be able to determine what would an emergency fund towards living expenses look like. So as we close today, I'm going to challenge us. Think through what would an emergency fund for living expenses look like for me, and how can we build that up? It's going to be extremely important. It's going to be a part of our journey as we grow together. Thank you for joining. It's Ahau.